or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I assume I'm on this monitor isn't working. So welcome to
Sorry about that.
Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Friday, and boy, we got a ton of stuff to talk about as usual.
As usual.
Here in the rib.
Here in the rib. And I want to start with our quote for the day from a very famous woman. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. That was said by Margaret Thatcher. She was born in 1925, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
Well, if it was from Snooki, more people
would know.
And more millennials will know who that is than Margaret Thatcher, because I saw a video on it. Half of them don't know who fought in the Civil War. So, you know, this is one of the problems we have. You know, uneducated electorate. They live in a world of reality shows and text messages but we've got some stuff. We've got some good stuff. I mean, we got so many, CJ. What are we going to hit first?
Well, the first thing we're going to hit is look at the weather outside.
Oh, the weather outside.
Okay, the weather outside is frightful, and the snow hasn't plowed. But you know, yesterday, the day before, Mayor announced that the promotion of City Director of Solid Waste, John Perry, which, by the way, solid waste we don't manage anymore in Fall River, so why we had that position and still paying somebody $75,000 or $80,000 for it is beyond me, to interim director of community maintenance. Mayor Correa states on November 1st of last year, Mr. Perry was given the responsibility of running the city of cemeteries and has responded admirably. Yeah, I know, we've already heard about the rumors of illegal dumping at the city cemetery. Oh yeah, wait a minute, also about the desecration of the city cemetery. Yeah, that's admirable. Okay, no problem. And we are pleased to give him the opportunity to manage the entire DCM at this time. His long experience in city government has shown that he deserves the chance to run the department. This morning on social media, it was going crazy. They want to know what dirty pictures he has on the city electorate.
Well, you know the thing that really bothers me about this whole, well, a lot of things bother me. But I mean, look, it's the campaign season.
Right.
We know that everybody better put their hip boots on and pull them up. Actually, you probably should get chest-high waders with this guy, because the BS is going to be coming. They're going to spin everything. Now, he has demonstrated in his long service to the city, and he's responded admirably, and he's demonstrated all these things. Yet, you read the Herald News article, he put in for Ponciano's job.
Right.
And he didn't get it.
Right.
So what did he get all these admirable qualities in the last 6 or 7 months? Was he was the best candidate, the most experienced candidate, knew the department the best when he had the, but now let's look at what happened here again with this guy, because this guy is the greatest inverted pyramid government guy I've ever seen. He loves to create high-paying positions for all his friends. Ponciano's not going. We said on this show he wasn't qualified. We read his resume. And that's not anything disrespectful to him. He had no management, departmental level management experience. And he had no understanding of this city and the department he was going to run. Absolutely horrible, horrible choice. But they paid him. But is he leaving? No. He's going to make $75,000. Perry's making $85,000. So the last time I checked, that's $160,000
plus a $5,000 snow stipend.
Yeah. Well, he's supposedly getting 80 plus 5. That's 85. So 85 and 75 is 160.
And I think that 5 may be coming off of Ponciano's old salary. Well,
regardless of where it comes, we got $160,000 to run a department that has fewer things to run since we've privatized trash pickup. And how much was Kenny Pacheco getting to run everything, including trash pickup?
I think 105.
105,000. So the last time I checked,
Are you going to do that new math?
yeah, the last time I checked, that's about 55,000 in salary plus thousands of dollars more in benefits. Remember, they're both getting health care, they're both getting vacations,
Retirement.
they're both getting their retirement, they're both getting all these other benefits. So we replaced the guy that was making $105,000 or 115, I don't, somewhere, but just over 100,000, with two people that are doing less work because we have a company that we're paying millions of dollars to take care of the trash.
Which, by the way,
So
they're usually at my house
this is
early.
what we call, this is what he wants to call effective government. Government with a vision. Yeah, it's a vision. How to employ everybody you know. And as usual, you get a department head that wasn't performing. Does he get terminated? No. He maintains a job, pretty decent job too, because I think if I remember correctly, my memory's fairly good, I think the most money he ever got working for the
State of Rhode Island.
Yeah, for the state of Rhode Island was 42 or 45,000.
Something along that line, yes.
Yeah, because most of his salaries are in the $30,000 range, and then one of his last few positions. Were
And
up
of course, with this mayor always talking about transparency, we had a fight to get the actual records, not the redacted records.
So look, this is campaign season, and you know what else I like? He's given him a title that doesn't exist.
Right.
Because he's waiting for the city council to approve his new title, which is quote unquote a reorganization. And
Seems that's all we keep
and
doing.
what happens if the city council says, not that they will, but let's say they have a tremendous epiphany, and somebody does this math and says, what the hell is going on here? Kenny Pacheco ran a department that was larger for 105,000. Now we got a mayor that wants us to, he loves titles. He creates a new title and that makes it okay. Yeah, you give it a fancy title, just like branding the city. We put lipstick on a pig and now it becomes a bald eagle. But the fact is, this is all BS. Now, what happens if the council turns around and says, something, we're not going to approve this new position. We're not gonna change the title. We're not gonna do anything. We may not even fund it. And what happens then? But that won't happen because you know what they'll say? Because remember his last statement on the last show, you've got to do all this stuff because the queue line, you fall back in the queue line because you know what happens if you fall back with at least, if you fall back on 2 queues today and 2 queues tomorrow, you know how many queues that puts you back. So
9.
Yeah. So this is all baloney. They never do it. Everything's at the 11th hour. He makes a position, and then he gets it approved. Isn't that kind of strange?
I agree, but let's look at this. Okay, now, according to reports that we received from DCM workers, foreign, former, current, whatever the case may be, the last snowstorm that was a mess, which happened to be, I believe, the first snowstorm of this administration's snowstorms, was a deliberate sabotage. Now, I'm not saying it is. This is rumor, rhetoric.
It's an allegation.
It's an allegation, okay? And now we have the first snowstorm of the season again, and guess what? It's still a mess. Yeah. So maybe it wasn't sabotage. Maybe it's just the guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing, okay? And why is it that Fall River, like many other cities, has such a problem with 2 things? Number 1, the first snowfall, and number 2, anything less than a foot. Because if you're less than a foot, they can't manage it, and if it's over a foot, they can't manage it. So I guess they just can't manage snow.
Well, look, this is the Fall River government. Remember, here's a classic example. You got a guy that they did this big hiring search for. We said, it's not the first guy. The first guy submitted a fraudulent resume, as did this guy. But they hired both of them. They got rid of one. They kept this guy. And so he doesn't perform. And does he go? No. He takes a little pay cut to $75,000 because he was making $80,000, and they give that $5,000 to Perry. And fine. That's government. The Peter principle. You reach your level of incompetence and you stay there. But that's only for department heads and appointees. Because if you're one of the Indians, like the girl who got fired because she wouldn't drop everything she did and just snap to attention and do what the chief of staff said and he wanted it done immediately, even though she had work to do, and she'd been working for the city 28 years. Guess what? I don't know whether she resigned or got fired. She probably resigned because they told her to resign or they were going to fire her. But that's what happens to people. We've had people fired, a few people during this administration. How many people have we had fired that are making almost six figures or over $75,000? Think about that. Think about that when you listen to the BS about branding and about we've got this great vision and everything else. Well, let's look at Fall River. Stop being a reality show advocate. Like those millennials that didn't know who fought in the Civil War, didn't know who the Vice President of the United States was, but knew who. I don't even know if this may not be the right name, but is their name Snooki?
Yes.
As soon as they said, you know where Snooki's from? She said, everybody knew the answer. Jersey Shore. Everybody knows the answer. They all watch Entertainment Tonight because they're more concerned about what dress somebody...
she was on an MTV show.
Yeah, some reality, baloney.
But this is the problem. Okay, so he's on the radio today during the propaganda hour, okay, on Radio Pravda, and he's talking about the branding campaign, and they're all spewing the garbage, and we have to do this. I'm not going to, and I'm going to quote him, I'm not going to say that I'm not trying to attract people who have higher income, because we need people who have more money in Fall River. And I agree with them, we do.
Oh, dude.
But the thing that he's doing is he's walking through the tunnel, and he's not seeing the entire vision. He's just walking through the tunnel. Guess what? He's like, we got to have a new brand. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what the new brand is for Fall River. Welcome to Heroine Highway.
Yeah, no.
Okay?
Yeah, there's
a new brand for you.
Yeah, the new crap is excrement.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Excrement City. Listen, we've said this like a million times. Look, I know the kid's a yuppie. He went to PC. He was always involved in stuff. He needs to live in a 3-decker for a while and see the real city.
He needs a reality check.
Because that's right. He lives his own reality show on the 6th floor. He drives around his SUV with tinted windows, goes up one ways, and he lives in a dream world. And he listens. Well, look, he's a well-educated guy. So he listens to all this stuff that the elitists look at, like branding. See, that's the new buzzword. Remember years ago we had that. For a while there, the big word was dovetail.
Yep.
All the yuppies had to dovetail. Let's get everything together, and we'll get together, and we'll dovetail this stuff. And that went by the wayside. Well, guess what? Flint tried branding. Flint, Michigan tried branding. Detroit tried branding. Pittsburgh tried branding when they lost the steel mills. Gary, Indiana did. They've all tried branding. If branding worked, every city in the United States and every town in the United States would be fine, because all you'd have to do is find a brand. You get a guy to get you a brand, and that's it. Life is good. We're in Valhalla. We've died and gone to heaven. The city miraculously has people with high incomes charging into a city that's in the top 5 in every negative category in USA Today, Wall Street Journal, crime, heroin use, low income, poor school system. Yeah, people, I hate to tell you this, Mr. Mayor, but high income people actually do look at schools and read about the city they're going to move in. You think somebody's going to come to Fall River? I don't care what brand you had. How many times do we have to explain to you the reality? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a bowl of sawdust with some milk. And you buy that every day, because we're going to figure out a really great name to put on that. And I want to see you eat that bowl of sawdust every morning. You're not going to do it. I don't care what brand you put on something. Remember, they tried branding in Fall River not too long ago. Does anybody remember Jerry Remy's? Jerry Remy. That should have attracted everybody within 50 miles. A Major League Baseball player from Somerset, right over the bridge. You could throw a rock to Jerry Remy's. Is Jerry Remy's anymore? No. Jerry Remy's is still Jerry Remy's in Boston. Why? Because people in Boston have money. I don't care what kind of brand you put on this city. When are you going to realize the only way to rebuild this city is to begin to bring jobs, employ people? They don't have to be the greatest jobs, because even when this city was pretty good, everybody worked in a mill. It wasn't the greatest job in the world, but everybody had a paycheck, and everybody went out to eat on Friday and went out for breakfast after church on Sunday, and there were stores along Pleasant Street. We've said it a million times on this show. I don't know, well, I do know why. I'm being totally facetious and rhetorical. I know why you pump this Kool-Aid. It's election time, and you want to get in again so you can keep the trough going. You know, people, look, this city has not gotten better over the last 20 years. It's gotten worse. And everybody who opened your tax bill out there today, you know, in the last week or so, the tax bills went out. I want anybody whose tax bill went down to let us know, please. Because everybody talked about, but you see, this is it. He doesn't want to talk about the fact in about 3 or 4 years, the water bill's going to go up 150%, or $150. Your tax rate's gone up, because remember, people, your tax rate just doesn't go up when the rate goes up. These sneaks have figured out a way to get your money and pretend that they're doing you a favor. It can go up if they raise the rate. It can go up if they raise the factor. It can go up if they raise the assessment on your property. So they can sit there and say, well, we're not going to go up on a rate. Then you get to your bill and go, what the hell? I'm paying $150, $160 more a year, $200 more a year, $300 more a year, and I'm paying $200 more a year for my sewer and water. I'm paying more for everything. But remember.
And we're going to bond $123 million.
But remember, he's going to get rid of the purple bags that he was in favor of again if he can find the money. Well, I'll tell you, why don't you find the money in the tax increases everybody's paying? I don't want to hear about the rate.
He said this last night. He said this last night at the South End Neighborhood Association meeting, that I do everything I say I'm going to do. I said I was going to get rid of the fee. I got rid of the fee. I'm going to try to get rid of the purple bags. Hey, Mr. Mayor, you're the one, the day it was shoved down the city council's throat, the day it was shoved down the people of Fall River's throat, that you came out and said, this is a good thing. And you have publicly said numerous times, you support the purple bags. Why all of a sudden you're not supporting the purple bags? Because you need to be elected. Here's the deal, Mr. Mayor. If you're going to get rid of the bags, I don't want to see them in the proposed budget. And don't tell me that you need to find the $3 million, because guess what? Those bags have never generated the $3 million.
Oh, look, they'll come up with something. They'll make some, our great financial team that's so good with figures that we're always, we never have any money to put a roof on, or never have any money. How much do you have to fix that roof? Zero. That's right. But we always find the money. Now he said, if I can find the money. Well, you're not finding the money. The fact is that that's in the budget. Those things don't go away. It's a fixed cost. It's like once you put that in the budget, unless you change the whole process, which will eliminate that cost factor, we still have a cost factor for picking up trash. We're paying a company. We're paying our people. We're paying our own people for bulky items and things like that. That's a fixed cost in the budget. And I don't care what you call it, whether you're funding it with purple bags we still have to get that money up. We still have to, if you want to dance, you got to pay the band. And the fact is that
The band don't work for free.
If you do that, that's right, the band doesn't work for free. And, eliminating the purple bags, it's like I eliminated the $10 fee. Well, you eliminated the $10 fee, you raised property taxes, you raised sewer fees, you raised excise, you raised every tax you could conceivably raise. So was that a deal for the people? I did everything I said. Well, okay, fine. You're gonna eliminate the purple bags because it's an election year, but you're still gonna get the money. You're gonna get more money.
Oh, and today,
because that strategically that's a great idea.
Yes.
Eliminate a program that isn't working because they're coming nowhere near to $3 million.
Exactly.
And now we'll figure out a way to screw the taxpayer so they get the full $3 million.
No, wait, we gotta go one better. You ready for the next political campaign bull?
Uh-oh. I can't wait.
He's promising on Radio Pravda during the propaganda hour that this summer he's going to bring a Fall River Celebrates America style event back to Fall River.
Yeah.
And who's going to pay for it?
That's right. Well,
okay, we've already found out that Fall River pays for a religious festival.
Well, I worked on the first Fall River Celebrates America. I actually, and I don't cook, but it was pretty easy to cook chorizo on a grill,
Yeah.
but I worked on the first one. I worked on a few.
So did I.
And there were a lot of people down there. But the reality is, listen, Fall River, a Fall River Celebrates America style event, just like a Holy Ghost Feast style event, does not help the economy of Fall River.
It does not.
It never has, never will. Who made the money in Fall River Celebrates America? The politically connected vendors.
And the chamber.
And the Chamber of Commerce, who got all the money. The vendors had to pay their fees. You think anybody left Fall River Celebrates America to go traipsing up to McGovern's in the South End to eat, or going up to, and just like the Holy Ghost Feast? Who makes money? Yeah, maybe a couple of the Portuguese restaurants across the street from the feast are going to get some traffic. But, what did we get? All we get is liabilities from these things. Overtime for the police, overtime for fire, problems with traffic, all kinds of things. Because it's not, look, this isn't like a week-long event. And I talked about that. I went down to North Carolina to a softball tournament that lasted a week. Guess what? You went down there, you could buy a hot dog at the fields. They had a big, huge complex with like 10, 12 fields. And there were thousands of people down there from all over the country. But then when you went down there, you had to get a hotel. You had to go out to eat because, you're in a hotel. You're in a different... So they got, that infused their economy in that city. It was a little tiny city, too, outside of Raleigh-Durham. But that city did well. Why? Because they used to have they had that softball tournament down there. They have tournaments all year round. And, see, things like this increase the economy. Things that make people come and stay for a couple of days, and where they have to frequent the businesses in the community, help businesses. A thing like this where they go down there and it's self-contained, and you go buy your fried dough and whatever you buy at a vendor who's paid a fee to get in there and is normally connected. That's how they got to get there. You're not going to get your car. Traffic's a nightmare to get to those places. You got to take trolleys and stuff, you park half a mile away. You're not traipsing off to go find a Fall River restaurant. This is again, it's inappropriate. It's just inappropriate for Fall River. Fall River was a blue collar, just as Gary, Indiana, just as Detroit,
Indiana,
just as Flint,
Gary,
Michigan. These towns were working class towns. And the only thing that brings these towns back are jobs.
Well,
not
Not
Fall
according to
River
him.
celebrates America.
Not according to him.
Well, guess what? We've looked at Fall River. It's gotten worse over 20 years. We look at Flint, Michigan. Look at Detroit. Look at Gary, Indiana.
Well, he said,
this is not Natick.
and
this
he
is
turned
not
around
Wellesley.
today. He turned around today and he said on the radio that Fall River's never been near receivership. We've never been near bankruptcy. And you know what? Okay, you think you know it all, no problem, Mr. Mayor. But I'm going to tell you something. Last night was not what you said as a compromise. Okay? When you called for the vote at the South End Neighborhood Association yesterday on demolishing the King Philip Mill or redeveloping it, it was a 60-40 split, 60% for demolishing it. Okay? Then you started out on the propaganda. I succeeded at everything I do. It became a political campaign rally. All right? And you bamboozled them because these people were just kind of trying to find an answer that would be beneficial. Okay? And you lied. You absolutely lied. You know what? When you lie, make sure the people in your audience don't know some of the facts. How are you going to put an assisted living facility in with market rate housing people? It's not going to happen. That's the first thing. Secondly, assisted living facilities in Massachusetts do not have nursing staff. That's called a nursing home. They have patient care assistants. They have assistants to help people get dressed, and they have congregate dining. They help them to make their meals. Some of them have their own kitchens if they're capable of handling that. But basically, it's just a glorified hotel with servants.
Come on, CJ.
Okay.
You know it's campaign. You know he's going to be spewing this stuff.
Yeah, no, but when the campaign manager sits on the side of me and says, "I don't like liars," you know what? Get your dog under control, Mr. Mayor.
Well,
get your dog under control, because what happened last night was a travesty. It was a lie, and you didn't get into the recommendations of the beta report 7-3, the conclusions, which show that the entire site has been contaminated and that it needs to be reclassified. You didn't get into that. You didn't get into the fact that it could cost up to $25 million, maybe more, to clean that site. And when members who are very, very knowledgeable of this information are told not to show up, or worse, are not invited, and they tell me last night while I'm at this meeting, I wasn't invited, so I didn't show up, that tells me that there's something to hide. Further, when I'm told by a state representative, when I show him that, because I gave him that report, and he tells me, no, don't do that. Don't show that right now. Don't show that. Whose pocket is he in? Yeah. And I'm sorry. I'm going to call him like I see them.
All right, CJ. Okay.
I'm going to call him like I see him.
Let's let his mayoral opponents bring all this stuff up point by point, because let's just look at the overview. What he's claiming. He's claiming he always succeeds. He's had 3 shots at getting somebody in charge at DCM.
4.
You didn't succeed. You didn't succeed when you hired the guy with the fraudulent. You didn't succeed with Ponciano. So you don't succeed at everything. And let's make something perfectly clear. You know, all this manure that you're shoveling doesn't hide the fact that you've managed to give a lot of people jobs. You've given a lot of people pay raises, and you've killed the taxpayer in this city. That's the bottom line. These kind of communities live when people work. We had stores in this community. We had businesses in this community when people worked. This is a blue-collar town. This is not Newton. We don't have people that work in Boston come back with $113,000 a year discretionary income and can go frequent places. This is a blue-collar town. You're not going to have people with that kind of income living here. You need to get jobs, and when you lie to the people like this and expect to be believed, you're ultimately going to get caught.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Shovel yourself out, because the city's not going to help you there, and they might fine you. Stay angry, people. We'll see you on Monday.